I was 15 when I heard about Lexington and Concord. Wanted to sign up right then, but my grandsire forbade it. If you don't let me join, I told him, I'll run away and become a privateer instead. That changed his mind quick. In June 1776, I was bound for New York to serve under General Washington. I was what I always longed to be, a soldier. All I desired was to prove myself equal to my profession. They said the British Army at New York was reinforced by 15,000 men. I didn't care if there had been 15 times 15,000. I never thought about the numbers. In my opinion, we were Americans, and we were invincible. When we got to Long Island, the British poured canister and grape shot upon us like a shower of hail. The enemy drove our men into a creek at high tide. As many were drowned as killed. My first job in the Army was to fish out the corpses. That scrape was barely over when they hit us again at Kips Bay. Our people were all militia. The demons of fear and disorder seemed to take full possession of anything and everything on that day. When the British fleet let loose with their cannons, I thought the sound would blow my head off. I made a frog's leap into a ditch. Some of the British came so near me that I could see the buttons on their coats. They drove us clear out of New York, all the way up to Harlem Heights. During the retreat, one of the men complained about being hungry. This colonel put a hand inside his coat pocket. He took out a piece of Indian corn burned black as coal. "Here," he said, "eat this and learn to be a soldier." People nowadays, they read the history of the great men, and they think they know what those 8 years of war were like. But nobody can know who wasn't there. Nobody who wasn't a soldier. Everywhere the British went, they left a trail of devastation. Cattle killed and laying about in the fields and pastures, tools hacked apart, barns broken to pieces, wells filled up, families butchered where they stood. I saw towns laid in ashes, people murdered and cast into their burning houses. After the fire was out, I saw families scrambling to find the bones of their relatives among the rubbish. I saw men split like fish to be broiled when they stooped behind the breastworks, but didn't stoop low enough. I saw a shell pass in front of a man's face without touching him. Didn't break an inch of skin, but shattered his skull all to pieces. He fell dead into a trench. And I remember the first man I shot. Took my aim directly between his shoulders, as true as I ever did at any animal in my life. The fire and smoke blinded me, but he dropped dead just the same. I read a pamphlet once where it said the revolution was a time that tried men's souls. Well, I'm here to tell you, it tried men's bodies just as hard. There were plenty who left when their enlistments were up. Some didn't even wait that long. But there were plenty who stayed. In October 1781, we marched to Williamsburg to join General Lafayette and pay the British a visit at Yorktown. The watchword was Rochambeau, the name of the French commander, and if you said it fast, it sounded like, "Rush on, boys!" And that's exactly what we did. There was no stopping us. The British surrendered 3 days later. We were marched onto the parade ground across from the French forces. The lobsterbacks tried to pay us no attention, and then General Lafayette had the band strike up Yankee Doodle. When they heard that, the British turned and they saw us. Us. Common soldiers, farmers, shopkeepers, Americans. What they called a rabble in arms. Well, that rabble had just defeated the most powerful empire known to creation. I confess there was as much sorrow as joy on the occasion. We had lived together as brothers, shared the dangers and sufferings of a soldier's life, and now we were to be parted forever. Every private soldier in an army thinks his service as important as that of the most influential general, and why not? What could officers do without such men? Nothing at all. We wore ourselves out with fatigues and hardships, but it was the fight that mattered, not only for ourselves, but for the generations that would come after us. It still seems a miracle to me how an army of volunteers, starved, naked, suffering everything short of death, and thousands, even that, should be able to persevere through 8 years of war and win a country. But we did. And that country is called the United States of America.